If you are tired of hearing your excuses like a broken record on repeat, if you are tired of limited beliefs making you play small and keeping you safe, then today's video is for you. Hey, I'm Ash Prieto of The Ash Prieto Show, and this is the episode for all of my excuse queens, because I am going to teach you the 5 simple steps to drop your excuses today. This is the exact strategy that I have used in my life in order to not only lose weight, but to write a book in less than 2 months, to start 2 businesses, to create a charity, and to do all of the things while I am a mom of 4 dudes, married, and of course, just living my life, right? So many things come up in a day, and I think that excuses are the biggest thing that come up in most of our days. Now, I am not going to point the fingers at you. I'm not going to call you out on all of the things, because you know what it is that you do. I am a recovered excuse queen because I've used them for years, and I am to the point where I'm exhausted of them, to the point where I knew that I had to change. I had nowhere else to go, nothing else to be able to do except for to change. And so when you hit rock bottom, you know, like they say with every addiction, you hit rock bottom, and that is the only way that you can actually start to make the changes in your life. And although that is true, right? I feel as if you get to a point where you're just sick and tired of yourself, where you come to terms with the fact that if you hear the crap that comes out of your mouth one more day, if you have to hear the questions that other people ask you about your goals, your hopes, your dreams, that you might just lose your mind. I know, because that's the same exact place that I was in for years. And so coming out on the other side does not mean that I am healed and that I don't have excuses. It simply means that I am working on myself, and that I'm recovering, and that I'm making a better life for me. So my hope, my purpose, my dream for this show, for everything that I do in my business, is to help you to design a life and a business that you love. The dream life, the dream business that you never thought was possible. I am proof. I want to help to show you that it really truly can come true. It can. It just takes a lot of damn work. And today I'm going to show you how to drop the excuses that keep you stuck. So let's talk about some statistics before we get started, because if you know, then you know I love some statistics. They don't make me feel alone, yada, yada. First thing is that the average American makes 2,190 excuses to validate their decisions per year. I need you to understand that that means that's 6 excuses per day. 6 excuses per day. So I don't know about you, but that statistics really, it makes me feel defeated, I guess, for lack of better words, of even starting, because it's like, no matter what, it feels as if you're just going to continue down that path, right? Because we've been there, we've done that. And honestly, the reason that it feels that way is that our excuses are just our verbal form of a physical habit that we have. Let me say that again. I view, after all of my research, after writing a book about it, after all of the things, your excuse, the thing that you tell yourself, the thing that you tell your family, your friends, all of the things, those excuses are simply your physical habits in verbal form. Every excuse that you have is connected to a physical habit that you have implemented into your life. You say you don't have time, but you watch Netflix. You say that you don't have the ability to eat healthy, but you shop at the same stores as everybody else. It's a matter of understanding what your excuses are and how they relate, how they tie to the physical habit in your life. When you start to look at excuses and your habits in this way, things can completely change in your life, as they have for me. So let's talk about the different ways. Actually, let me share a little bit about myself. Besides the excuse queen, I have massive limited beliefs, like massive. I also do this whole self-sabotage thing where I'm like, if I don't have the best equipment, if I don't have the best camera, if I don't have the best microphone, if I don't have the best background for myself, if I don't have all these things, then I can't do the videos. Then I can't share my point of views. Then I can't do XYZ, fill in the blanks. You get what I'm saying. I will literally self-sabotage myself. I'm also a perfectionist, and I've struggled with that for years because I don't know why. I don't know where it even started. Maybe, probably, most likely from childhood. But I don't want to be the best. I want to be the best me. And even when I look at it in that view, I then struggle personally because I'm like, well, you're not at the weight that you should be. Your BMI is high. Your this or that's off. And I just, like, I'm just on a struggle bus, sister. Do you feel me on that? And so perfectionism, self-sabotage shows up in so many ways, methods, formats, whatever you want to call it. But for me, it was perfectionism. And I hold myself to a certain standard, which I don't hold for others. Like my children, I don't hold it for. My husband, you, my clients, I'm like, no, you're amazing the way you are. Don't change a thing and hit the ground running. And I do all this stuff. And then for me, I'm like, girl, you look crazy today, so you're not going to record. You don't understand how this works because you're struggling with it still, so you can't share. And it's like, no, there's so much more to me. There's so much more to you than we allow ourselves to even understand, right? I don't have to be perfect. And building up that confidence in myself is taking a long dang time. But I know that in order to be able to overcome, in order to be able to push through, I have to do the things that I tell myself I'm not ready or I'm not good enough. So limited belief, sister, self-sabotage, all those things hits me to the core. And so my excuses stem from all of that. But let me walk you through the 3 ways, 3 simple steps to an effective excuse strategy. Ready? Number 1, what are they? What excuses do you use? I know it sounds so simple, but you don't know because you don't ever look at yourself, right? Like you say, it's just the way the world is. Like we're just busy, or we just don't have access, or we don't know how, or this and that. But those are just excuses. That's not really truly the reality that you live in. You can figure out how to do so many things, but when you stay stuck in that excuse, you won't even give yourself the opportunity to try. So what I like to do is look at myself for a full 24 hours and I say, what am I consistent at? What am I consistently doing, saying, practicing, thinking, and feeling in a way that allows me to identify my excuses? In those nooks and crannies is exactly where my excuses lie. For most of you, you'll realize it's not just your excuse, but it's the habit that it's then tied to, right? I'm not lying. Like, I love keeping up with I love to keep up with my Real Housewives. Like, those are my girls, those are my sisters, those are my ride or dies. Like, we have to know what's happening, right? But if I don't focus on my business, if I don't move forward in my progress of what it is that I want to accomplish, it does not matter what crazy faces Ramona makes. It does not matter what crazy fights are happening on the Beverly Hills Housewives. Like, it doesn't matter the financial and the legal issues that Erica Jane is dealing with right now, because I have my own. And that's where a lot of people don't want to start looking at themselves, because when you do, you start to uncover the things that are not pretty. You have to actually start dealing with your own crap instead of focusing on other people's crap. Does this make sense? I hope it does. So what I want you to do For consistent 24 hours, just look at yourself. What are you doing? What are your excuses? What's happening that you are trying to hide from? Number two, you have to look at the habits that are tied to it. So when you look at yourself and you're like, what am I consistent at? Well, I get up at 7 o'clock every day. Guess I could get up at 6. That gives me another hour. And one of my excuses is that, well, I don't have time. So right there, there's an hour of your life back. An hour of every single day that you can start taking progress, start taking action, building that momentum and whatever it is that you want. Right there. Easy, right? But it's also more than that. It's looking at the things in between. It's looking at how you are spending your day. It's looking at what are the habits. So the things that we get so comfortable in are the things that we don't recognize the most. It's easy to write them off because we're like, well, that's just how we live our life. But there's a few things in your daily routines that are wasting your time, that are taking away from your life versus adding to your life. But because it is so engraved, because it is a habit that you are so used to, you don't know how to overcome that. You don't know how to compensate for that. Number three is something that's going to either make or break you and your excuses, and that is your why. Your why. Not only is it your why for why you want to stop using excuses, but it's also the reason why you've allowed yourself to use your excuses. When I first started transforming my life, I looked at my why in a way like, okay, this is the way, this is why, this is the reasoning behind wanting to change my life. And of course, it's like huge, it's big, it's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And this is the business I'm going to build. And this is how my life will transform. And these are the people I'm going to help. And it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's important. But I looked at also the past. Why did I allow myself to get into that mess? Because when you can start to uncover your past, you can start to let it go and then focus on the future. So my why is not just for my future, but my why is for my past. For a lot of it, I did not feel ready to take on the massive goals I have for my life. It scared the shit out of me, both literally and figuratively. It was just too much, right? And so I allowed myself to say, this is why I sat in insecurity, why I sat in laziness, why I sat in limited beliefs, because I was not ready to take on the life that I really wanted, to be able to make the goals of my life a reality. It was too big for me. It was too much for me. And truth be told, even now, I still feel a little struggle with it, because it's almost like, well, who are you? And it's not an external voice saying that, it's an internal, because your inner bully, your excuse queen, will be more powerful, will be more influential in your life than anybody else. It doesn't matter if your family's like, you're the best, you can do this, or your family's like, you batshit crazy, like you can't do that. It does not matter. What matters is how you speak to yourself, what you tell yourself, what you let yourself off the hook for, and what you're really ready for. I know a lot of the things that I want in my life, I'm not fully ready at this point, not only physically, but mentally. And so I'm building up to that. I take steps every single day to say, okay, what do I want? Like, if this is my future goal, how do I have to show up as her now, today? Like, I deal with a lot of autoimmune issues, to the point where some days I get up and I am so puffy and swollen, it hurts to move my body. I feel like I have the flu. And I know I physically have to get out of bed, not only to take my dudes to school, but I need to work out. I have to break the cycle of what is going on inside of me, but I also have to fuel myself. I also have to drink water. I also have to do all these other things. And so every day I have the opportunity to rise above or to keep myself stuck, to hold myself back. And so I may not be able to transform my life overnight, but I can take the small steps. I can take the wins. I can focus on my why in order to start taking the action. So Those are the three super important ways to create a strategy to stop your excuses, to crush the crap out of your habits, and to start changing your life for the better. It is a process. I'm not gonna lie. It is a process. I have dealt with this for a long time, which makes me feel like an expert, you know, because this excuse queen, like, I still wear my crown proudly. Thank you very much. But I no longer am an excuse queen. I am just a queen. I've recovered. I am making steps to a better life. And I am proud of myself for taking those steps. So no matter how small they are, no matter if you want to run a marathon, but you can only walk to the edge of your driveway, that is an accomplishment. That is something you should be proud of yourself for and pat yourself on the back for. That is something that tomorrow you can go a step further and see what you can accomplish. But if you never started, if you never got off the couch, if you never put yourself in the game, you will never win. You won't. You'll continue to struggle because that's how life is. And it's much easier to let yourself off the hook than it is to push yourself. Which then kind of takes me to this next point, which is not even in my notes, but something that I've struggled with is just allowing yourself to play in the game. Listen, I'm not a sports chick, like never have, never will be. But my boys do sports, and so maybe it's just rubbing off on me. But if you never allow yourself the opportunity to play, if you never see what you are capable of, you will remain small. You will remain on the sidelines. You won't give yourself the opportunity to even try. And I think that is the most heartbreaking thing of all of them. Right? Like, could you imagine? I didn't think I could write a book. I've had ideas for books. I still have about 6 more ideas for books. Because I've been through a hell of a lot in my life. And one of the things that has fueled me to start my business, to help other people, is the fact that I've been able to overcome. And I know how many people still sit and struggle. And that's why I push myself to help other people, not because I am perfect, not because I'm at a spot in my life that anyone will be like, oh, I would love to be in her position. No, I'm still just starting out. But that's what I think makes me so relatable, is that we've all been there, right? Everybody had a starting point. Everyone has had a struggle in their life, something that they've had to overcome. And when you sit in the struggle, you don't allow yourself the opportunity to get out. And you can sit in that struggle for years. You could sit in it for decades. You could sit in it for your entire life. But then every day that you wake up is an opportunity to say, am I okay with being stuck? Am I okay with just getting by? Or am I ready to start taking ownership of my life? Am I ready to start seeing what I can accomplish? Am I ready to join the game of life? You can look at all the successful people in the world and be like, well, they had it easy. Well, it took them one day, or they had money, or they had this, that, and the other. But if you look into the people who are the most successful, it's because they had to fight their way to the top. What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to say, this is so important to me that I'm going to drop my excuses, I'm going to stop my bad habits, and I'm going to start taking action on the things that really truly make a difference in the world and in my life. That's what I wake up every day thinking, all right, girl, like, we can stay stuck or we can rise above. And that's what keeps my momentum going. I look at my boys and I think, from their perspective, their mom is successful. Literally, they think I'm like this famous woman, right? And I'm like, well, no, not even a fourth of the people in our community know who I am. But they see me taking action. They see me trying. They see me not just dreaming, but then creating a strategy to put it into place. And so as long as I feel like I have momentum, I am making change, even if just in their life to show what the possibilities are, then that is success to me. But it's not enough for me. I want to touch as many people as I possibly can. I want to help as many people to overcome mental issues, to stop the suicide, to stop the bullying, to stop the mundane, to feel like you are in control of your life, because I know what it feels like to not be. And it's not pretty. It's a scary place. And life is meant to be so much more. So I hope that I have encouraged you to start looking at your excuses in a different perspective, to start realizing the habits that are tied to the verbal excuse, and to start focusing on not just your why for the future, but allow yourself the grace of the why of your past. Protect her. Do this for her. It's okay that you sat with this for years. It's okay that you struggled. It's okay that you hid yourself from the world. And it's okay only if you decide here and now that life can be better, that the potential for your dreams, for your possibilities, for the opportunities are just waiting for you to stop being the excuse queen that you've allowed yourself to be for far too long. If you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe to the Ash Prieto Show so that you do not miss an episode. My whole desire, my whole plan is to help you to build a life and a business that you actually love, that makes you feel like you are living your best life, because you deserve to. I don't want to wait till I'm 60 years old to rise up. My time is now, and so is yours. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. All right. If you haven't already, I have a 30-day challenge that is completely free. It's an ebook with over 30 pages that I did out of my love and excitement for you in your life. And I really hope and encourage you to go download it so that you can start changing your life today. If you don't already, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all of the things. I'll link everything down below, as well as my website where you can sign up for courses or my academy or coaching. And until next time, friends, take care.